So welcome back to the channel. I'm Richard Murray, professional South African triathlete, and this video is all on running form, running technique, how you can go about adjusting things to a small degree to help improve your running, everyday running, as well as running faster at the end of the day as well.
Go, end it.
I'm hoping this video is going to help everyone out there that's wondering a little bit on the kind of, should I be a heel striker, should I be a midfoot striker, should I be a forefoot striker? What is the best way to run? We're going to go through all of this shortly in this video. I hope you're going to enjoy. Remember, if you can go ahead and smash that like button if you're on your cell phone. Most people are nowadays anyway. So you can head on down, smash that like button. It does a hell of a lot for this video, for the whole show and the channel in general. So that would be amazing and super appreciated. As well as subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy my videos. It helps all that much. Yeah, and drop a comment down if you can as well. That would be super cool. This video is all about running form and running technique. The different types of technique, the different types of running forms there are out there in the world. How you can go about adjusting or working on your form and your technique to try and become a better runner, a more efficient runner, more relaxed runner. We're going to go through all of this, as well as some of the things out there which people state or people say can really help improve you, or help improve your technique and form, which is kind of a bit false or a little bit, yeah, I don't know, a little bit generic out there. We're going to go through some of the things as well that, you know, aren't necessarily going to benefit your form, but can definitely help you in the long run. So yeah, let's head on to the first part of this video. So let's just start on with the different styles and the different types of running technique that there are out there. The first one we'll head through is probably the most standard one, and that is kind of a heel striker out there. So you've got the person that goes and kind of runs from their hips quite a lot. They kind of land on the heel of their foot, which kind of can put a lot of load up through their knee and to the hip joint, causing all different types of injuries, which you kind of don't want. But there's definitely, you know, a lot of people out there that do run like that. And hence the shoes nowadays have got a lot more support in the heels as well to kind of give people that support they need while they're running to cater for the general masses. This running style, you know, is a very strength-orientated running style. You don't see people running with a very high cadence when they're heel striking. So it's definitely, you know, a slower, I wouldn't say a slower running style, but definitely one that you're going to be breaking yourself more, landing on your heel, causing a little bit more resistance when you're running through your gait. And yeah, so that's kind of the heel striking side of things. It sometimes can sink a little bit in the hips when you're a heel striker because there's a lot of load going through your legs as well. You want to kind of avoid sinking in too much into your hips while you're running if you are a heel striker, and definitely focus on trying to kind of land a little bit more mid-foot striker if you can. It'll kind of take a lot of load off your hips, especially off your shins and things like that, and your heel as well. So the second different type of running form or running style out there is a person that's kind of a mid-foot striker. So they'll land kind of just in the front of their body while they're landing. So not kind of in front of them being a heel striker, kind of in the middle. This is a pretty good intermediate or to advanced type running style. You have to be obviously a bit stronger and a bit more conditioned to be kind of a mid-foot to a forefoot type striker. So there's obviously, you have a lot less time on the ground generally if you're a mid-foot striker. Out there, you don't have that heel impact rolling over your foot, then obviously going over your foot and going off your toes. So being a mid-foot striker or forefoot striker, you're obviously a little bit less load on the body, and there's generally quite a lot of people out there that have that kind of mid to forefoot type striker as well. Then you obviously have the forefoot strikers. A lot of people say it's like, I wouldn't say high performance, but a lot of people that focus on trying to run more or less on the forefoot or midfoot of the foot, landing directly underneath your body. And this is kind of seen in some of the top runners in the world out there, track athletes.
Ladies, don't die.
Kind of land almost, you know, directly underneath their body, and they've got a very, very high frequency and high turnover. So generally you need a higher turnover, obviously, the more you go towards forefoot striking. And yeah, I think it's very specific to the person. So there's no one size fits all when it comes to running technique or running form. So there's lots of different categories out there, a lot of people running in a lot of different ways. You've always just got to find out what works the best for you and makes the most comfort for you. So yeah, those are kind of the 3 different styles there are out there. And now how getting on to improving your form and improving your style to get it the best that you can for, to improve your running the most. Everyone's so different out there, so you can't state that there's one perfect running style. When you look at the top Kenyan runners and the best runners in the world, they've been running since they were kids. It's what they do for a living. So it's extremely different if you compare somebody like that to somebody who just runs once or twice a week, perhaps, and has got a completely different background, different nutrition, different life. So, you got to look at where you are and look at how you can improve where you are to a better, more relaxed running style where you can get the kilometers done and things become slightly easier for you in the long run as well. So to improve your running form, the super important things you need to do, and core work is one of the biggest ones. The better your core is, the less you are going to sink in your hips while you're running. And funny enough, going through running, running does help your core to a certain degree, but what you want to try and do is when you're running, you don't want to sink into your hips too much from side to side. You want to try and keep your legs going in a direct backwards and forwards motion. Obviously, you want to try and lift your knees quite a bit while you're running. You don't want to be flicking out of your knees. A lot of people kind of end up flicking from their knees instead of actually lifting their hips. Extremely important to lift your knees while you're running. Obviously, if you do some core work and some strength work of your hip flexors, on your glutes, and kind of the muscles all around your glutes and those things will definitely stiffen up your hip joints, and this will really, really help you running economy and running efficiency by having a stronger core. So core workout is definitely really, really going to help you with your running. Once or twice a week would be great to do that. So you can kind of mix it up, but some core work will definitely help your running form in general. Top runners do a lot of core workout, a lot of strength workout, especially for their feet, ankles, calves, hips, all those things. So get some core workout done. It'll really, really help your form. So let's go on to running drills. Running drills I find is a very, very tricky topic for me. It works for a lot of runners. Some runners it doesn't work for. The one big thing about running drills is you need to realize that if you can do the drills perfectly, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to run perfectly. When you're running, obviously you get fatigued and you get tired, and it becomes so much more difficult to keep that same form and to keep that same style while you're running. So the drills are really, really good for kind of activation, for warming your muscles up, to getting all the muscles warmed up, which can assist you in running more fluidly and running better, but it's not necessarily going to change your running style in any way. Everyone's kind of got their own style when it comes to running. Some people obviously run with a very high frequency or high cadence, whereas other runners have got a very, very long stride and even heel strike, some of the top runners as well. So it's very dependent on you and dependent on your body type and your makeup and where you're from. So as I said, obviously the drills and things, great for warm up. Sometimes even great for cooling down after some running sessions. It's always actually good to do a couple of strides and a couple of activations after if you've done like a long run or you've done something like that. Sometimes you'll get very tight in the hips. So it's very good to kind of open your hips up with a couple of strides at the end of some of your runs, just to kind of open things up a little bit. And yeah, that's more or less a little bit like a drill. You can do a few drills afterwards as well. Just make sure that you obviously keep things intact and you don't do the drills badly. A lot of people, sometimes if you're tired and you're doing the drills incorrectly, you can actually pick up bad habits and you can pick up kind of injuries as well. So you want to be very careful with that and just make sure that you're activating correctly when you're doing the drills and the technique things that you're trying to focus on in specifically. So another way of improving your form is by using your arms and having a good arm drive while you're running. So depending on your arm cycle, how you run, people don't realize that your arms are actually connected to your legs. So obviously the faster you can move your arms when you're running sometimes, it'll actually help your leg movement and the turnover of your legs a tiny bit as well. So very important to have a very fluid, relaxed upper body while you're running. definitely help your form. So you don't want to be tense, you want to try and be as relaxed as you can. Remember, you're running from your legs mainly, not your arms. Unless you're a triathlete, maybe you'll be running with your arms more. Arm swing is very important. You don't want your arms to go out extremely wide while you're running as well. You want to kind of keep your elbows in while you're running, kind of run tall. So a lot of people say obviously running tall helps a hell of a lot. So trying to run tall, not being bent over too much forwards while you're running. And obviously, as I said, activating the glutes, activating the hips is really important to have a good running form and a good running technique. So you can have a look at the two different running styles, whether you're a person who runs off cadence, like Rachel does. She's more of a cadence and frequency runner. So when she wants to go faster, obviously she ups her frequency a lot. Everyone has a different frequency. The top runner is obviously the faster you go, generally the cadence, they can lift their cadence up a lot more and not fatigue as much as they're running. Whereas myself, I've got a slightly lower frequency or lower cadence than Rachel does, but I run more of strength. I heel strike a tiny bit more, well, a lot more than Rachel does. And that's just something that I've grown up with, always kind of part of my makeup. I've always been running a tiny bit of a heel striker, so my hamstrings, all the muscles and everything are designed kind of around your running style and how you run. So to try and all of a sudden change from being like a heel striker to being a forefoot striker, you know, you're going to pick up all different types of injuries generally. Shin splints, knee problems, lots of different types of things, calf problems, especially if you're a forefoot striker, Achilles problems. So you want to be very, very careful when it comes to trying to changing your running technique and running style. You can't just go ahead and change things from one day to the next. It takes months and years almost to change from being a certain style runner to a different style runner. And yeah, just want to be careful with that. Remember, obviously, what you're comfortable with running the quickest you can, that's usually going to be the one that kind of helps you to run the fastest. Obviously, it's not comfortable running fast, but you want to try and make sure that you stay in control, hips and everything. You want to be really controlled and in control of the running style, and that'll definitely help you trying to be a quicker runner and a more efficient runner at the end of the day. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you can take something from it. I hope you've learned something from it if you're new to running or somebody who's thinking about changing their technique, or just, you know, generally interested about my videos. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead and smash that like button, as well as subscribe. It'll help the channel a hell of a lot. And yeah, I hope to see you shortly for the next video. We've got some cool ideas coming up, and yeah, looking forward to sharing them with you shortly. Cheers, everyone.